Hello, hello. Welcome.
Hi.
Yeah.
Welcome to our podcast. Welcome to our welcome to our hey. For why you not doing hey? You're supposed to be giving
I
me
was
backup here.
happy. But yeah, say it again.
Welcome to our podcast.
Hey.
Welcome to our podcast.
At this point, Simi should come and sign us. Kill me.
Wow. Bruh, stop it. Cut.
Action. Anyways, guys.
All right.
Our topic for today, very
Oh
simple.
no, wait. Before you start, we're supposed to say, how are you guys doing? How y'all been?
Okay.
You know.
I'm so sorry. I don't have manners. I apologize. There's thoughts you might not teach myself. Don't be angry. How are you doing? Hope Auntie Rona is not there disturbing you too much. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Also send her back where she's coming from.
Yeah. We're gonna come out of this on the other side, and we're all gonna be able to hug each other again.
I know, right? I miss hugging. I think that's what I miss the most, apart from my
No, I don't miss hugging, but okay. For y'all huggers out there, I really, hope that y'all feel better at the end of it. I know. I don't need to see it. I know your face, Kofo, literally. So I can imagine, but it is what it is. Anyways.
It is what it is.
Oh my Lord. Anywho, Kofo, what's our topic for today? Tell us.
We're talking about vulnerability in men.
Oh my jeez. Basbos. What? Hey, let's do
vulnerability in men. And but you know what just came to mind? Always
comes to your mind. Your mind actually scares me. Okay, shoot. What came to mind?
So as I dropped the topic, this saying, or I don't know if it's a saying or something I heard in passing. You know how we're now in the woke generation and we're in the women empowerment, women speaking for themselves kind of generation, which is perfectly fine. But someone once said that our fear is that we're going to empower women so much and, or what we're doing right now is empowering women so much and forgetting about the guys. And that what will happen in the near future is that women will become so empowered, so vocal, so everything. Then we don't have to go back and start pulling the guys along with us.
Yeah.
It also goes to vulnerability and speaking out. You know how we encourage women, talk, say how you feel, say it out there. And if a guy is trying to be vulnerable, the next thing you tell him is, are you not there, man? Hello.
Yeah.
Mental health is very real. Let's just guide it accordingly.
Yeah.
All right. So now I just needed to put that there. If I didn't put it in my chest, it'll not be all right.
Yeah. And I want to quickly add something to what you said. I think it goes to saying that we all need to first of all recognize ourselves as human beings, regardless of gender.
Mm-hmm.
I think that when we begin to see ourselves as I feel the way he feels. He feels the way I feel. It doesn't, my emotions aren't less because I have different private parts because I'm a woman, and a man has a different private because he's a man. No, what makes a man is that he's first of all a human being. And what makes a woman or a female is first that she's a human being. So I think that we need to stop attaching emotions and psychology and feelings to gender. It has nothing to do with it. We feel pain, we feel joy the same, we feel happiness, we feel sorrow, we feel loss, disappointment, everything. We feel it the same way. Maybe some people are better in handling it based on how they grew up. It doesn't change the fact that their feelings are valued. So I think, first of all, what we are trying to establish here today, guys, as much as we're saying vulnerability in men, it's that we're saying every human being's feeling is valid. Yeah. That's what we're pushing out there today. Your feeling is valid. And like Kofo rightly said, we're really hoping, because this thing you said actually hit a nerve where it will now become that every other generation or every other decade, there'll be a change, but it's not balanced. So we now over-empower women, no men. Then we now try to over-empower men again. Women reduce them. It's like we just keep going in circles, but not achieving any actual change, right? And there's a popular saying that says, whatever change it is that you're looking for and whatever change it is that you're trying to instill always starts with you at the beginning. So before you say, oh, I want to do this, I think you should first of all look at yourself. And this is me and Kofo talking, Kofo and I talking to ourselves, and also asking you to do the same. Evaluate yourself and ask yourself, have I been the best human being to every man and woman I've met, regardless of gender? Have I treated them in accordance with their emotions and their feelings, regardless of gender? Because, sometimes I had a male friend, or I have a male friend one time who I was talking to, and I think I said something to him, and I realized that his mood kind of shuddered. And along the line, when we were going, I was just like, what's wrong with you? Why is your face squeezing like this? I was just messing around. And he said to me, that what you said, that I'm actually paying you. And for some reason, I kid you not, Fufu, I was angry that he was angry.
He was angry.
Because in my mind, I'm like, what the hell? And I started saying things like, but don't show me when you're not a woman, why the hell would that upset you? And that was when I realized that, oh shoot. I've carried this goddamn baggage mentality from, my parents' generation and the older generation, where we believe that men are to only cry for certain reasons. Women are to only cry for certain reasons. Men are to only get angry for certain reasons. Women are to only get angry for certain reasons. Women are allowed to be petty. Men are not allowed to be petty. Women are allowed to sulk. Men are not allowed to sulk. Women are allowed to complain and nag. Men are not. So it's like we just have we've blocked every single expression of emotion from men. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying.
I totally understand. And it feels like...
we now ask them, sorry to cut you short, and it's like we block them off emotionally and ask them to be totally emotionally involved. I don't know if you understand the irony.
I do.
You want him to be romantic and sweet and lolocks you and jollificates you and jollof fries you, but you're the same person asking him to be stern and bold, and he should carry his chest up and his shoulders high and his chin up. There's a persona, there is a way that you want him to be. It's like, guys, they are damned if they do, they are damned if they don't. So sometimes
you cannot win in death. I cannot even win after. What's it that has been trending? I can't remember the thing that has been trending. You can't win in death. The thing is, you literally spoke my mind, because I was going to say that I realized, thankfully early enough, that there's so many things I need to get to unlearn, so many mentalities that I needed to drop down, and
especially as a woman, Abi.
Yes, and this is one of it, and it's not something that I acquired from above, from some strange place. It's something I grew up in. It's the environment you grew up in. It's what your parents are speaking over you. And it's not, this is not me saying anything bad about our parents, but that's just how they felt. That's how they were trained, and they also projected the same on us.
Yeah. So something really quickly, I remember one time, guys, again, I'm sorry. I'm not even sorry. I'm a Christian and I have the Holy Spirit in me. And yes, the Holy Spirit speaks to me. So one time I was complaining very bitterly. I think I was in SS3. My dad did something that was ridiculous to me and it was unacceptable. And I was so angry. And there were so many things I wanted to say, so many things I wanted to do. And I remember crying because I was in boarding house. And I remember crying in my room. People were going for prep. I was a prefect, so I told somebody else to handle leading boarders to prep, that I will meet up with him. And I was crying in my room, and I went to the toilet to go and cry, and I was talking. And I remember then, of course, I didn't know that this was the Holy Spirit actively, but then we say my mind told me that. So then, my mind, now I understand it was the Holy Spirit. My mind was telling me, do you realize that the man you are judging based on the knowledge you have now had absolutely no idea of the knowledge you have now? He is working with you based on the tools that he has and based on the tools that he was given. You are being given better, so you know better. But you can't expect him to know what you know, because he's not living the life that you're living. He didn't have that opportunity. And so I remember I went home and I asked my dad, where did you grow up? How did you grow up? And I remember my dad telling me, his mom died when she gave birth to him. His dad had a lot of children, a lot of wives, he used to feed himself. And that confused me. I was like, what do you mean you used to feed yourself? He said, oh yeah. He was about maybe 8 years old or 9 years old. So he would go and cut firewood for people in their compound, and whatever money they give him, he would go and use it. That was how he fed. Sometimes he would clean their houses. Sometimes he would go to the river banks and help people catch. He basically just did every and anything to feed himself. So this is me complaining of a man who had absolutely no parental guidance or parental know-how or parental pathway, asking him to be these parents that I now see in the 21st century that I want him to be, So sometimes it's exactly the same thing. You know what I'm saying? For these men, the generation is back there. We are in the front here. And unfortunately, another thing that I think that we as women forget a lot is the fact that these men that are in our age range, in the 20s, in the 30s, in the 40s, also grew up with parents that told the daughters to wash the plate and the men to go and sit down, sleep, or play football or whatever. Right? It was us, the women, that had to sweep, that had to be in the kitchen, that had to clean. And we grew up hearing things like, Toba Lolioko,
Oh my God.
all those, it was like a goddamn rhyme that we heard.
A penny for every time I hear that, I'll be a homeowner. Like,
what do you mean? I'll be rich. Like, I'll be richer than Bill Gates. Are you funny?
No, Jeff
I heard it. I heard it every single day. But these guys did not. They will come, drop their clothes. There was somebody to wash it. So there's so many factors. That doesn't really give them room for vulnerability. They were never sat down to ask, how are you feeling? What's wrong with you? They were simply, it was like an expectation of them to be okay. Men are expected to always be okay, So they don't know how not to be okay. It's not like they don't want to be, not like they don't want to be vulnerable with you. They don't know how to be vulnerable with you. Because this is not a lifestyle that they are used to. Yeah. So go ahead.
Yeah, let's do this. So I want our listeners to do this quick test. Like, if you're female and you happen to, let's say you go to the movies with a guy that's just your friend, or you're in a canteen with your friends, and it's nobody's funeral. It's not a sad day. Maybe you're just watching a movie and the guy beside you is sniffing and is crying. What will your reaction be? No, be true to yourself. To thyself, be true. If your reaction is, why is this one crying? Why is this one being like then there is something wrong with your mentality. And I'm not trying to antagonize you. This is something I have gone through. So I know what it is. But if your reaction is, oh my God, like maybe more of comforting or something like that, especially if you are not crying. So let's go. So it's a different, if all of you are even crying, the reaction is like, let's say 60%. But when you're not crying and the guy is crying, if you're getting what's wrong with this guy? There is something wrong, and we owe it to ourselves. I'll tell you for free. It doesn't matter. I know you might disagree with this, but I am a firm believer. It doesn't matter how you grew up. It doesn't matter what shaped your childhood, even if that influences you largely. You owe it to yourself to unlearn a lot of things.
Oh yes.
You have no excuse. It's bad if you're exposed to this level of knowledge and you decide not to, maximize it. So yesterday, before you listen to this podcast, you had this certain mindset. Today that you listened to it, what has changed in you? You owe it everything. You owe it yourself to unlearn certain things. There's so many things that, oh my days, and you will be doing your children or your next generation a disservice if you carry that mentality as you're going. You know that all the time, Boma. So thankfully, I think God has given me this grace where I think I have a lot of people that I speak to, guys, girls, like we chat a lot. And I've had an opportunity where I've had male friends that have been open with me. And one of the things I realized that, caught everything in. So I keep asking, so when they tell me things, I'm like, but why are you guys not speaking up about these things? Why are you guys not? And then you think I'll be like, girl, are you in this world at all? Like, are you facing the current realities? These are
exactly
genuinely going through. But I can't even say I'm not joking.
Trust me.
Like these are
I
things
know.
I share and I
feel
break
you.
down and I'm weeping. And
Yes.
it's more painful that
Yes.
so they can tell me because, well, they presume that I have sense to the glory of God. But it's not something they can tell every other person because people will not understand.
My God.
And sometimes I tell my friends that, I wish it, because you know how guys meet up in like pubs and everything. But I wish I could just come and sit down with you people and just listen in on your conversations because there's a way to learn. And it's like the truth is, if they see a girl there, they won't be open to speak. But you know now, guys now,
oh my God. Do you know
they won't be open to speak? You know, I was going to do a write-up about something and I needed inputs from some guys. And so I sent my male friends. They were really like, they were like, this is great and everything. So it was like, if it was my male friend that needed the information, they would have been fine to provide it. But they were not just comfortable, you know, opening up and giving up that information to me. That they were not just comfortable, maybe because of the reactions they've gotten in the past. So again, how do you deal if you've ever been lucky? I'll say lucky because it doesn't happen all the time. If you've ever been lucky to have a guy, friend, or whatever the relationship is, brother, cousin, open up to you and tell you something, how did you react to that information? That is important. It will set the tone of what goes on. Yes, it sets the tone of what goes on after. So when he told you that, was your reaction, why did you not, why did you behave like a man? Why did you do? If that was your reaction, I promise you have closed that chain of conversation forever, except something happens. So we have to be very informed. It's reflex, I promise you. You want to react in a certain way. But that's where you have to tell yourself, because now we are talking about mental health. It is the amount of people committing suicide daily, especially the males, is on the rise, because for ladies we are very easy to any small thing, let's tell somebody to do. But guys have been conditioned, and that's the word, to bottle things up. They've been conditioned not to be vulnerable. They've been conditioned, you're telling them that your feelings are not valid. I don't know what this topic is emotional to me.
And that's why, sorry, Kofo, and that's why if you look at, a friend of mine, we're talking last year, she's abroad, and she's telling me that, Omana, wow, is it that we were raised differently than these guys? And I was just laughing at her that the fact that you have to ask, there's a problem with you. Of course, we were raised differently from the whites in every single way. We see all these cute videos of fathers with 2-year-olds, 5-year-olds, having conversations with boys, their children, and there's vulnerability. You see boys saying, I don't like what you said to me, blah, blah, blah. And you know how I know that we have, like, our mentality needs serious help? It's how people come out on Twitter and say, if not me, when I was small, my papa, they don't slap me. My question is, the fact that you think that is okay, first of all, is a problem, right? Now, the fact that you don't see that you have the duty to do better, because you see this thing we're saying right now, Kofo, I promise you, there are people that still feel like, I beg, let me shock you. So, this movie, Miracle in Cell 7, that was showing and it was everywhere for a bit.
I've not seen it, but yes, I know it.
Okay, yeah, it's pretty emotional and all of that. Very, very sad, gloomy movie and all of that. So I put it on my status after I watched it, and I was like, oh my God, this movie. I tried not to, I was fine with that. I just got to one part and I just started crying, and I was like, what the hell? And I was laughing and crying. And a friend of mine, sent me a message that, she watched it and she didn't cry, but that her fiance was crying, that he was crying as in weeping, that water was coming out, and she was like, what the hell is wrong with you? That, and in Yoruba she said, I beg. I was like, oh my God, that's so cute, that's so nice. She now said, I beg, go around that which one is the one that will not be crying like? And in my mind I'm like, this is exactly what I'm saying. You have something that a lot of women in their homes are praying for. A lot of women cannot reach their men emotionally because there is no vulnerability. A lot of women are praying that just one day you will break down in front of me, you will lean on me. And that's why men come home and they're angry, they're cranky, they turn to alcohol because they're looking for an outlet, somewhere to let it out to. So the question I also want our listeners to ask themselves today is this: are you a vessel are you a vessel? And I'm not saying person now, I'm saying, are you a vessel that is open enough and safe enough for the men in your life to be vulnerable with, to be vulnerable to? And I say men in your life because
No, as in, you know, as you just said that thing, the right word that just came to mind is, are you a safe space?
Yeah.
Really?
You know, I'm saying vessel because vessels are things that they pour into, you know. A man wants to come home to you and pour into you, but he's thinking you will laugh at him, or you would want him to summarize the story. I mean, I was talking to a friend of mine once, and he was sending me these really long DMs, you know, trying to tell me about stuff he was going through, and I was just really there listening. I mean, me, I love DMs, so I was listening, and he said something that wasn't such a big deal to me, but apparently really a big deal to him. He said to me, he said, Oma, you are one of a kind. You're the first woman that has listened to me for 30 minutes straight, uninterrupted, and then had something to say that was not scorning me afterwards. In my mind, that made no sense because, hey, the amount of people me I talk to for more than 30 minutes in a day, they should have dumped me by now in the ocean. You know, they should have given me help. Where I can't do this no more. And I'm asking myself, I'm the first person that has given you 30 minutes uninterrupted attention for you to churn out your emotions. Then there's a problem because you obviously have bottled up emotions over the years that you have not put anywhere, you know. And I think we need to start realizing that humanity was made for us to coexist and depend on each other. There's no such thing as doing it on your own. All this mumbo jumbo, oh, I can do it on my own, I don't need nobody, doesn't exist. You can thrive on your own, but you always will still need community. So when you know this whole a man, and that's why you see that the bond between guys is really close. You know, when guys have this friendship thing, is a go for the rest of their life sort of bond because it's almost as if they are all they have. You know, that's all that they have. So you need to begin to ask yourself: am I a safe space for my dad? Am I a safe space for my brothers? Can my brothers come to me and ask me, oh, hey, you know, do you think I should? I've fucked up or I've done something wrong. Or do you think? And then what do I say to them? Do I condemn them? Do I, you know, make it seem like what they said is not such a big deal? You know, do I just make it a thing? It's very important how we react because we cannot keep requiring of men what we are not ready to give.
Exactly.
You want them to bear the burden of your emotions because we have grown up to we grew up knowing how to churn ourselves out there, putting ourselves out there. So they didn't grow up that way. So you are going to have I'm not saying be a rehab center. No, know the difference. I'm not saying be a hospital to mend somebody. No, I'm simply saying be a listening ear. Do less of talking, more of listening. You know, can he gist you about his random day at work and you're not bored? Can he talk to you about, oh, guess what? Today I was just online, I saw this card. You know, can he talk? Because this is where it starts from. You don't expect a guy who, and I was still saying this to some of my friends. I said, you're expecting a guy who does not understand vulnerability to just begin to tell you about 30-something years of his life. Are you funny? He has to first of all know that you are a G. And by a G, I mean he has to know that you're a friend. Somebody he can just confide in for any and everything. And slowly you start unraveling things. And now I've spoken to women, right? So now I want to turn to the men.
Oh wait, guys. Wait. Before you continue, I was going to say this too. So let's stop tagging men that are now trying to be vulnerable as queer. I think it's very unfair. Let's stop tagging them as queer.
I think it's bad. Unfair. I think it's bad. Just stop it. Don't do it.
Let's not do it. I don't know why, but I'm going to say it and say it again. Let's stop doing it. And yes, you also owe. So now we are in